a new home for a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. I know man, passing by, life is good.
Alright, well you may have noticed a video that went up online a couple of days ago. It was some really awesome drone footage that we had in Tasmania, and I've been pretty overwhelmed by the response from all of you. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to answer a couple of questions that people have asked me about some of the effects or some of the techniques that I used to capture some of that drone footage, especially the techniques where the drone was flying and recording me walking along the beach and up and down rocks without me holding a remote control. As you all know, while you're traveling in a caravan or while you're traveling this amazing country, we want to try to get as much footage as we can that looks natural and will bring back amazing memories for all of you. So, and one of the things that you definitely don't want is that when you're doing some drone footage, and I know a lot of you have drones, when you're doing drone footage, you don't want to be seen holding the remote control because it looks fake and it looks like it's planned and it just doesn't look natural. So there are a couple of techniques that you can use to make sure that you don't fall into that trap. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to reenact a couple of those scenes that you saw in that video the other day. They won't be exactly the same because we're a long way from Tasmania. We're actually up here in central Queensland, but I am on a beach and there is a cyclone brewing about 1,000 kilometres north of us, so it is a bit windy, but I'm going to give it a crack and hopefully you will see just how easy it is to create these amazing techniques and get some amazing results from your drone footage in those areas that are just unbelievable and you want to capture forever. So here we go. All right, so first effect that we want to do is I'm going to be walking along the beach and the drone is going to be following me from the side, looking at me as I'm walking along the beach. And I'm holding the remote control at the moment because I need to program it to tell it what it's going to do. So what you're going to see as I'm filming, you will see some screenshots from this DJI Air Remote 2. So you'll see exactly what I need to do to program the drone. So the first thing we need to do, we need to get the drone to actually see where I am. So I'm just going to walk over here. I'm going to turn the drone around and I'm going to find me. And there I am. And there's our trusty videographer right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a square over me like that. And then it's going to recognize me and it sees it. And what I want it to do is I want it to go to what's called active track. So I do that, and now that's going to know that that drone needs to follow me in doing exactly what I want it to do. And then I'm going to press this parallel button, and what that will do is that when I walk, it will physically walk at my pace at the same distance from me. So I'm just going to move it back just a little bit, like that, so I can get a nice effect. Maybe bring it down just a touch lower. And then I'm going to walk over there and the drone's going to follow me. So there we go, I'm going to give that to you. Now I don't have the remote control, but you can see that the drone will follow me as I walk. All right, so that's a really easy technique, and that's literally 2 buttons, and you can do that anywhere that you want. And what it will do, it will simply track you as you walk up and down or whatever direction you are. It'll keep the same distance from you, and it still has all its cameras and things like that, so it knows if it's going to run into anything. It's very, very clever. So we use a DJI Mavic Air 3, and it's a really great drone, and you can, we've had this now for a couple of years, and it's never let us down ever. So it's a great drone. So the next technique I want to use is what we call when we use waypoints. Now waypoints are a little bit different. It's a little bit more complicated, it needs a little bit more planning, but I think the results are even better than that first technique that we used, just having the drone following you. Because with the waypoint, you can physically program the drone to do whatever you want, and it will remember the exact location where you start and the exact location when you finish. So the advantage is, it doesn't matter where you are, you can just push a button and the drone will physically go back to the exact spot that you started and will do the technique that you told it to do. And I used this in that technique in the last video in Tasmania when the tide was coming in. So I did one lot when the tide was in, when we weren't walking all over the rocks, and another one when the tide was out, and Justine, Riley and I were walking over the rocks with the dogs. And it does exactly the same motion as what it did, because it knows where it started, it knows where it stopped, and you can physically, layer over the footage and you can get a really great effect. All right, so the first thing you do when you want to record waypoints is you need to get the drone up in the air, because it needs to know where it's going to start. So what we're going to do, this is going to be a really simple little course. I'm going to set the waypoints, I'm going to record it first, and then I'm going to run it and make sure it does exactly what I want it to do. And then I'm then going to walk into the frame, so as it records, it'll actually have me in that frame. So I've got this DJI remote control. It doesn't matter if you don't have this remote control, you can still run it from your phone, but you need to get into waypoint mode. So the way you do that is you push this little squiggly line here, and it brings up this waypoint menu. So what you need to do first of all is you need to tell it where you're going to start. And on this remote control, there's a button on the back. If you don't have the remote control, you can just push the waypoint button on the screen and it will record the waypoint. So I start it so it knows this is its starting point. So it knows that when I want to run this, it needs to start at this point. Now with the waypoint, it will record things like starting position, velocity, and also camera angle. So it will know exactly what you want it to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell it to run the course, and I'm going to be pushing this waypoint button along the way, changing the angle of the camera so I know exactly where it's going to be looking, and then I'm going to basically get it to run itself. So here we go. So I'm going to go forwards. I'll set a waypoint. first stage of the Waypoints is done. So I programmed what it's doing, and now I'm just running it again, and the drone is moving now, and I'm not doing anything. It's going to where the first waypoint is, and now it's going to run exactly what I just programmed it to do. Now I need to watch it and make sure I know what it's doing so that it gets me in the frame next time I'm going to do it. And it's physically doing the program that I told it to do. And it's really easy. It turns around, it does exactly what I did. It drops down in altitude. And now it's going to zoom out to sea, which is what I told it to do. All right, so now I'm watching it to make sure that, you know, I'm in the frame the next time, because next time I want it to actually physically video me in the actual frame. So it's going to do what it's doing, and then it's going to come back, and then I'm going to do it for real. All right, so the drone is ready to go. The waypoints have been programmed. Now all I need to do now is tell it to run the pattern, me get into the actual frame, and hopefully it will work out really well. So I'm going to tell it to start. I'm going to give that to Justine, no remote, and away we go. So it is a bit of messing around, but once you get the actual picture the way you want it and you know exactly the course it's going to do, it's easy, and it can be as simple or as complicated as you want. And the funny thing is, I could come back here at any time of the day, any time of the year, in this general area, find that waypoint, tell it to start, and it will do exactly the same thing as what it just did then. So, and that could be a really great exercise for someone you might want to do if there's a special place you want to come back to year after year after year after year after year. Do the same video over and over and over again. It will just remember exactly what it did the first time. So imagine the footage you can get there. So drones, they're amazing and they're relatively easy, and when you get the results, they're spectacular. So thanks for joining us. See you soon.